of course, information technology or computer is there. So the combination of both biological as well as the information technology play a wide role in the biology people for enhancing their projects, their research work, their academic, curricular, co-curricular activities in the computer era. Okay, so today's topic is somewhat different. A computational gateway for biologists. Even biotechnology, microbiology, biochemistry, botany, zoology, immunology, whatever associated biology science field, we will need a computational support for delivering their research activities. That's the computational way. So this bioinformatics is the platform. It's not new, but somewhat in 1980s only it was developed. But previously also this bioinformatics area was there, but in hidden form. After the evaluation of internet or network, whatever the recent technologies, this bioinformatics is also growing and it became a boon for the recent researchers as well as the academicians. Okay, so I will start with my presentation. So, so you know the topic is bioinformatics, a computational scientific gateway for biologists. These are my presentation agendas as well as the outlines. Today I will discuss about the introduction to bioinformatics and what are the developments and the historical overview of bioinformatics. What are the biological databases available as of now and its types. Mainly I will discuss about the types of the biological database and what are the URLs or what are the uniform resource locators available and what is meant by sequence alignment, what is meant by phylogenetic analysis, what are the programming languages available in bioinformatics, what are the tools available, that is commercial as well as the non-commercial tools available in bioinformatics. I will explain an overview within this 1 hour. Hope it will helpful for your academics as well as the research. Okay. Introduction to bioinformatics. In the beginning itself, I said, right, bioinformatics is not a new term. It's a recent origin only. It's a topic. That is the term bioinformatics is a recent origin, but already it has acquiring several overlapping meanings. For example, it generally understood that it's application of information technology in biology. It's both combination of two words, bio plus informatics. Biological applications to be involved or interpreted or overlapped in the information technology. So here some of the phrases also refer to some similar areas. That is computational molecular biology or biocomputing or biocomputation, computational genomics, in silico biology, and computational proteomics. So in the last point, I would like to explain about the difference between the in silico. You might learn about the in vitro and in vivo, right? In vitro within the laboratory, will do the research. In vivo, use animal models. There is another term also called in silico. In a computational manner, we have to do a research, or we can do a research, can perform our analysis, statistical studies, whatever we can do in the in silico approach. Like in vitro and in vivo, there is another area called in silico. You can utilize in your master degree projects, PhDs. Faculties also can use the in silico areas for your research purpose. So what's a major advantage in this in silico means there is no chemicals involved, very cost effective. You can't use any chemicals or glasswares. Then a computers or you can use the software help, can do or can perform the research throughout your scientific way. Okay. So the bioinformatics is a conceptualization biology in terms of molecules which applied for information technology. So there is a biological thing which need a support of a computer. So it could apply the process or application things in the help of the IT department. That is a computational thing. So here, in terms of molecules, it's applying for the information technology to understand and organize the information associated with these molecules on a larger scale. Okay. So these are the position or areas or which comprises of these things. Okay. So bioinformatics, as I said, it's not a new one. It comprises of all the areas of biology. It's an interdisciplinary one. So first you can see in the left hand side, there's a red color Venn diagram is there. The bioinformatics, which comprises of or which invades biology or medicine people, which comprises of databases, text mining, web application, that is purely IT field. Also programming as well as the algorithms. Likewise, mathematical people also involved, statistical and mathematics peoples. Their role should be there. On the right hand side also, the complete understanding of a system. There's a biological system. So it involves environment, biomolecules, the DNA, RNA, proteins, signaling networks, such as neurons, cells, organisms, clinician, etc. etc. Whatever biology is living or somewhat related with things can have a relation with this bioinformatics. Okay, so now you get an idea who will come across this bioinformatics. Okay, next, what are the research areas? So it's bioinformatics is a boon for the upcoming budding biology researchers. It will helpful for the biochemistry as well as the biophysics people, cell biology, cancer biology, virology. Even now the COVID is running over there, right? So the COVID-19, that's the receptor proteins we got, and then dog studies also going on in this virology department. So bioinformatics also play a wide role in the COVID-19, developmental biology, infectious disease, again bioinformatics, computational biology, immunology. So these are all the different areas you can work. For example, if you choose any microbiology, so you can work on the microbial concepts or microbial genome studies. You can then perform in the bioinformatics. So the main sub-disciplines of bioinformatics. There are three main sub-disciplines within bioinformatics. Okay, there are three main methods, only two, three only. One which can develop some algorithms and statistical methods. So before going for the algorithm, I would like to know. More basically, all the students might know about the computer things, basic computer science. Computer having hardware and software, right? Hardware is the physical components of the computer, the keypad, motherboard, whatever the physical components is called hardware. But in case of software, it's a set of programs. The help of some programming language or any tools, the developers will write a program to set a software. For example, simple software tool is your Microsoft Word. Behind the Microsoft, there are some programming things are there. They intercalated and they correlated something from programming languages and finally an output of Microsoft Word, like your Google Chrome, whatever, or Photoshop. These are all the softwares. So for that software, they need an algorithm. In the research also, there will be a problem. We need to rectify that problem. So for rectifying the problem, we need some solution. Here, the algorithm is step-by-step procedure to solve the problem is called algorithm. Okay, so why I'm explaining is the hardware, software, and this algorithm is hereafter this algorithm will come in each and every slide, most probably. So you might have confusion. So rectifying that, I'm explaining what is in the algorithm. Algorithm is step-by-step procedure to solve the program. So to eradicate a problem, we need a solution. So the programmers, what they will do means they will develop the rules or rectify the problem. For example, what's a way to go parameter from your college AJK means it's a separate route, right? You know in which way you need to go. Directly go to Kadam and directly to Gandhipuram. It's a route. It's a solution. Likewise, in biology also, there are some problems involved in each and genetical level or molecular level, whatever area, there will be an errors. So we need to write a coding or algorithm to rectify the things. So in bioinformatics, to develop new algorithm and statistical methods which may use to access the relationship among information present in larger database. Okay, this is a they develop new algorithm and statistical methods. The second one is to analyze and interpret various types of information. For example, protein, nucleic acids, right? So to analyze the and interpret various database of information which includes nucleic acid and amino acid sequence with protein structures and protein domains. I'll explain the things. There is a protein structures, nucleic acid sequence, amino acid sequence in the upcoming slides. Okay, the third part I will explain. So this area, they will analyze the larger database and interpret which one is the best or which one is the poor, one is good or like that. They will interpret. These are the subdisciplines. Major three subdisciplines are there, right? This is the second one. Third one and final one is to develop new computer tools that enable efficient access and management of different types of biological information. If you want to view any three-dimensional form of protein means you need a tool, that is software, RASMOL, PyMol, these are the tools. So for that purpose, we need a computer people to develop a tool. For example, if you want to open an image in your laptop, you need a Picasa or Windows Photo Viewer. That's a tool, right, for viewing. Likewise, in biology also, the biological structure, sequence, alignments, whatever the things are available, we need a tool. So for that tool, we need a programmers to code and develop. So to develop new computer tools that enable efficient access and management of different types of biological information. Clear? So this is an important and very peculiar topic. Bioinformatician and computational biology. Most of the people with a mistake over here. They think both bioinformatics and computational biology is same. Here as time, it's not same. There's some difference. So bioinformatics differs from related field known as computational biology. Here also the term itself, you could understand computational biology. Computer also there, biology also there. But what's the difference? Bioinformatics means it is limited to structural sequence and functional analysis. If you take an example of E. coli sequence or any spirulina or whatever the biological organism sequence, be limited to view or retrieve the sequence, structural difference, and you can study the functional analysis or metabolic difference you can see. Okay, of genes and genome and their corresponding products is considered as the, and the corresponding is often considered as computational molecular biology. But computational biology, which encompasses all biological areas that involve computation. In whatever field, if any computational role is happen or is going on means you can say it's a computational biology. Bioinformatics as a development of and application of computational tools in managing all kind of biological data, whereas computational biology is more confined to the theoretical developments of algorithm. As I said, right? The computational people, for example, BTech IT or BE or MTech IT, computational people, that is pure computational people, they only know how to develop a programmer well. Our biologists, we can't go not much beyond about the programming languages. So we need to study about the computational aspects first and to deliver that to the computational people. So they will more confined about the theoretical developments of algorithm and they will develop algorithm based on the requirement of biologists. Okay, that's why I said there's a difference between bioinformatics and computational biology. In each area, there will be a specialist, right? Pharmacist, physiotherapist. So suffix is IST is common. So here also, bioinformaticist and bioinformatician, IST and IAN. There are also some difference. Before going that, we must know about who coined the term bioinformatics. In 1990, Pauline Hubberg and Ben Esper coined the term bioinformatics. Okay, so what is bioinformatist? IST, informatist, is an expert who not only knows how to use bioinformatics tools, but also knows how to write interfaces for effective use of tools. Okay, informatics is not only know about the informatics, that bioinformatics tools, but they know how to develop. For example, if I am a bioinformatics means I can operate the bioinformatics tools, and often I can write programs or I can develop the core things of the tool. But if I am a bioinformatician, let us consider I am a bioinformatician, I can only a trained individual to use the tools. For example, you are all biotechnology people. If I deliver some only program for bioinformatician tool for how to use the bioinformatics tools, you will be a trained individual. You can use the bioinformatics tools. You can bold enough to say I am a bioinformatician. But you can't be a bioinformaticist You must need a proper learning for developing tools, algorithms, and the interfaces. Okay, so it's a basic difference between the informatist and informatician. Then history, as I said, right? The term was coined in 1970s, but I started the timeline from 1859. That is the origin of species, published by Charles Darwin. That time, that era itself, the history started for bioinformatics. That is, we got information or data from 1859. The DNA from nuclei of white blood cells also identified Redditch in 69. In 51, Dennis Pauling and Corey proposed the alpha helix and beta sheets. That's the secondary structure of protein. 53, Watson and Crick, their role. And 55, the sequence of first protein to be analyzed. They predict Sanger. Again 58, the Advanced Research Project Agency, that is ARPA. You must note 1958, the ARPA was formed in US. They formed this agency for communication purpose among the military sources in US. They only later developed the internet. Nowadays you are using, right? Internet. The acronym of internet is International Network. One can access the data from US or Australia or wherever. The data is, for example, the data is available in India means they can access from world over the globe. Okay, these are the advances of the ARPANET agencies. The initially it was ARPANET, later on it became Internet. Okay, that's a drastic, some big timeline for this internet history. We'll take another 1 or 2 hours discussion. So just skip over here. In 1973, again PDB, Protein Data Bank, was announced. 87, Perl. It's a like C, C++. It's another programming language in bioinformatics. Perl, practical extract report language. 88, again NCBA. You must familiar with this term, right? NCBA, National Center for Biotechnological Information. In 90s, some broad developments. That is, the British scientists who developed the World Wide Web, www.google.com you are using, right? The www. That's World Wide Web was developed in 1990s only. The internet got established throughout the world. Human Genome Project also launched in 1990. Moreover, in bioinformatics, the BLAST program is very popular. That also introduced in 1990. So it's a key era throughout this history in 1990. After 1990, the 92, the CHICA, the Institute of Genomic Research, associated with some plans to explore the sequence complexity through some drug discovery, gene identification, some molecular developments, molecular modeling. This will be started development in 1992. In 2001, the 2K period, the Human Genome Project Research and Base was published in 2001. So these are the small timelines of the or history of some bioinformatics. After 2001, this 2020 also, so many papers published, so many recent tools were developed. Okay, it's going on. These are the broader data. Then, what do we do in bioinformatics? We will analyze and interpret. We will develop some new algorithms. Okay, what will we analyze? Some genomic sequence, DNA, RNA, proteins. We will analyze and interpret. What will we develop? To access the biological information. For example, if we have a set of some sequence, we need some particular some genes. We need a help. For example, in a Word, let us consider you have a Word file, right? You have some 10 to 15 paragraphs. I want to find out the word computer throughout this 8 paragraphs in some 5 or 6 pages. How will you do? What do you do? Control F, or you need to find. If you plus Control F in Microsoft Word, let us small tab open. You need to type computer and search. It will results in there are 15 places the computer was there. Right? So it was a tool already developed in Microsoft Word. Likewise, in bioinformatics also, we need to develop new algorithms and tools. Likewise, I just saw the example Microsoft Word for the comparison. Also, the large data sets. For example, Human Genome Project, the whole genome things. We need a larger data sets. Okay. Then find the relationship between the more than 3 or 2 or 3 data. Okay. all things you can develop for this bioinformatics. So, what skills required for a good bioinformatician? To become a good bioinformatician, it is necessary to have a sound knowledge of molecular biology, biochemistry, molecular biophysics, molecular modeling, computer, information technology, and biostats. So, if you become a good bioinformatician, you need to learn as I know some people are bad in maths. Anyway, you need to learn about the statistical area, not a differential calculus, integral calculus. But you must know a few topics in the correlation, regression, what are the areas. Okay, so biostats, mathematical area, computer and IT, purely computer field. Biophysics, you need to know about the biophysics, that is NMR, X-ray, crystallography, whatever the areas, you need to learn biophysics, biochemistry, molecular biology. So, with comprising all these areas, you have a short sound knowledge to become a good bioinformatician. Okay. So, besides the bioinformatics professional must understand the central dogma of molecular biology and bioinformatics software package. I don't want to explain about the central dogma as you are the biotechnology people. You have sound knowledge in that area. So, in addition to that, you must know a little knowledge about the bioinformatics software packages. At the end of the phase, I will tell that what are the tools available, what are the commercial tools, I will explain. Okay. So, the next topic I explained in the initial agenda is biological databases. So, biological database can split biological database. So, what is meant by database? Okay. For example, let us consider you're having mobile, right? Smartphone. Each one is having some 100, 200, or 1000, 2000 address. So each contact, let us assume, is a single data or single file. So here a database is organized collection of data which is accessible in various ways. So let us assume you are having a contact of 200 to 300, right? With the help of this contact, you can either call or text or you can video call, whatever, with the help of any applications. You can use the same context in WhatsApp or Telegram or Facebook, right? Why I am saying these things? Just comparative, then you can get an easy idea. So your database is an organized collection of data which is accessible in various ways, with different scenarios. Your database is a collection of information. Okay. And what is database means? It's a collection of information, nothing else. That is well organized and well planned to execute it. Okay. So it can be easily accessed, managed, and updated. Clear? So this computational database contain aggregation of data records or files containing information about various items. Let us assume you are having an Excel sheet. Okay, your biological practical records. There will be a serial 5 columns as well as some 5 rows. In first column, serial number. Second column, name. Third, optical density, some value, some inference. Okay, so you're having some 5 rows and 5 columns. If I want to know the optical density is, you got some optical density from 10, 15, 20, 30 means I want to exactly want the 20 optical density means you can filter. Out of 5, I can filter the third one is, for example, 20 means will easily get. This is a smaller database. If it consists of some 1000 rows with 5 columns, that is easy to access. So we need a database tool to access that 20 optical density value, right? So for that purpose, the database is developed and it consists of some aggregate of data records, contains various information which could be retrieved or accessed or managed with the help of some queries. Okay, there are some query languages in database: SQL, structural query language, MySQL, Microsoft Access. Okay, these are the things used for this developing this database, store the database, retrieve or manipulate the database. Okay. So, biological database. I explained what is meant by database. Some collection of some records, some collection of some files, or some collection of some data. A biological database is a large organized body of persistent data, usually associated with computer software is into update, query, and retrieve. As I said, you need to can update, can put query over there, and you can retrieve the data which is stored in the computational field. These databases are libraries of life science information. That is, botany, whatever the life science, living things, living organisms, whatever, will be stored, collected from different experiments or published literature or some high throughput experiments for computation analysis. Okay, so various sources are there, you can collect. Even as a student, you can also collect some information. For example, if you want to collect a pathogenic gene or some virus, for example, you need to collect some strains of the COVID strains. You can also collect the data from the WHO the page. You can put in a separate database. Okay. From the published area. Next, there are different types of data available in biology. There is sequence database, structural database, databases of some different experimental things. That is the metabolic pathways or what are the things. So all databases interconnected. Sorry, 90% all these databases are interconnected. Okay, like a cyclic form. So overall, the biological database, the roles or the functions, what will do? So data collection is one of the role. Classification, for example, I give a raw data to some database means it consists of, I'm talking about the biological area, some bunch of some 15 MB of data I am giving to some database people means they will collect the data and they will classify based on the types. For example, they need to store bacterial in one database, virus in one database, fungi, etc. etc. So they classify and manipulate the data. They will analyze whether this data is already available or not. There is a copy paste or whatever. Okay, they will analyze and they will store in their storage area. Previously, they will store in hard disk or the bigger area. Nowadays, the cloud storage is everywhere. So internet storage, they will store the data. After storing, if a person would need a data means they can easily retrieve with the query. For example, I need virus database means you just type in that particular page virus, whatever the name available for that, can retrieve the data. Even they can movement of data from one database to one database. Can share dissemination, you can share the data and can protect. Okay, you can protect the data also. So these are the types of biological database: primary database, secondary database, and other specialized database. There is some molecular pathway databases. So these are the icons for the databases available. If the bioinformatics people might know these icons. As you are biotechnology people, you might have come across in your final year or your end of the semester, you might learn about the bioinformatics paper. So in that book also you might see these are the icons of various databases. Okay. Classification of biological database. Three classification, as I said earlier: structure, sequence, and other. Structure database, PDB, SCOP, CAT. I will explain one by one in the upcoming slides. Okay. In sequence database, protein as well as nucleic acid. The protein, Sysprot, PIR, TREMBL, Roside, PFAM. In case of nucleic acid, GenBank, DDBJ, EMBL. Okay. Okay, next, primary database. The primary database consists of biological data in original form. For example, if you are doing any research in a lab, you got some sequence or you got some structures from the sequence. So original form will be directly stored in you directly submit to the primary database. Okay. These experimental results are submitted directly to any of the database by the researchers or research scholars or any academicians or students. Once a database is submitted, they will give an accession number. Okay, like your student ID or register number, your data is submitting any of the database or data bank, they will give one accession number. It's given to a kind of data in primary database. It can't be changed further. Once you submit it, you can edit the data somewhat, but you can't change the accession number. These are the primary databases, that is nucleic acid or protein databases, EMBL, GenBank, DDB, JPAR, Rumble, and Swissprot. Apart from that, how many primary databases also available. These are the common databases. One by one we can see. Primary database. In short, we can say GenBank or it was maintained by the NCBA. So GenBank is the database from NCBA. What is NCBA? National Center for Biotechnology Information. So these people collect or get the information from the researchers or research scholars, which includes sequence from any available source. GenBank is a genetic sequence data bank, an annotated collection of publicly available DNA sequence. Okay, it was maintained by the NCBA. That is a part of International Nucleotide Sequence Database collaboration, which comprises of DNA Data Bank of Japan and European Nucleotide Archive and GenBank of NCBA. As I said in the previous, all these primary databases are interconnected. So from US own agencies involved, Japan own agencies involved, Europe own agencies involved. All these agencies are involved for sharing their database information in the end of the day. For example, 12 o'clock night is the end of the day, means the end of the day they will share their database among themselves and correlate it. At the bottom of the slide, there is one URL, there is address. URL means uniform resource locator. There is a, we will set the website address. Here HTTP, this NCBA, NLM, NIH, GOV, GenBank is the URL of this primary database GenBank. Okay. I will surrender this PowerPoint to your concerned HODs and faculties. You can get this PowerPoint and you can utilize that URL and then search or surf over the internet and get more information about this GenBank. It's just shorter one. Then EMBL. This is also a primary database. It was maintained by this EMBL, European Molecular Biology Laboratory. On the name itself, you understood. It was maintained from European countries, European Molecular Biology Laboratory. It comes under the EBA, European Bioinformatics Institute. It was established in collaboration with DDBJ GenBank from the previous one. This EBA is SRS, each one having their own retrieval system. Sorry. Here they are using the sequence retrieval system is SRS. It's a network browser for data bank in the molecular biology for integrating and linking the main nucleotide and protein database. Their URL is embl.org. Primary database. Again, it's DDBJ. Third one. DNA Data Bank of Japan. From the name itself, understood it's maintained by Japan. It's located in National Institute of Genetics. It's also a member of International Nucleotide Sequence Database Collaboration. Their URL is ddbj.nig.ac.jp. Okay. Sorry. Next, Swissprot. It's also a primary database. Here also from the name, Switzerland. It was created by 1986, created in 1986 by Amos. Again, the Swiss Institute of Bioinformatics only maintaining these things. It consists of a curated protein sequence database which tries to provide a high level of reputation. Their URL is uniprot.org. Okay, primary database, PIR, Protein Information Resource. In 1984, it was established. It was maintained by the developed by this National Biomedical Research Foundation, NBRH. It consists of integrated public source of proteins informatics that supports genomic and proteomic research. Double underline supports the genomic and proteomic research and the scientific discoveries, new discoveries. It maintains the protein sequence database. Okay, it's a sequence database, an annotated protein database containing more than 283,000 sequences covering the entire taxonomic range. Their URL is proteininformationresource.org. Secondary database. So we learned about the primary database. The next is the secondary database. The secondary database consists of data retrieved from the results of primary. Primary is a fresher one. The researchers directly develop some products in a research laboratory and they will submit it to the primary database. But in case of the secondary database, they will retrieve the data from primary and they will interpret with some tools and they will analyze with various forms and again submit to the secondary database. So it's a results of analyzed or retrieved primary data. This data is either manually created or generated automatically. Okay, with some tools, the help of some tools. It contains some valuable information such as about the mutations. There is a sudden change occurs within the sequence or structure, or have some evolutionary relationship among the species or some organisms. Okay, these are the some types: prostate, PFAM, blocks, prints, like PAR, DDBJ in primary. Here, prosites, PFAM, blocks, and prints. These are the secondary databases. Okay, we will explain one by one this prosite. Okay, prosite is a protein data bank. It consists of entries describing the protein families, domains, and functional states, as well as also which covers the amino acid pattern and profiling them. Okay, it was curated a team by this Swiss institute. Previously, we learned right, Swiss Prot. They only maintaining this prosite, the protein database. Their URL is prosite.xyz.org. It's a secondary database. Keep in mind, the curated one. The another secondary database is PFAM. That is, the acronym is protein family, PFAM. So PFAM is a database protein family that includes their annotations and multiple alignments generated using hidden Markov models. Okay, these are the bioinformatics terms, the hidden Markov models. Okay, in later if you get a time, having a bigger session. So among this 1 hour, I can't explain a broader way. So kindly excuse this hidden Markov models. I can't explain in elaborately. So in this PFAM database, there are annotations and multiple elements are generated using this HMM. Okay, in short, we can use to say HMM, hidden Markov models. The general purpose of PFAM database is to provide a complete and accurate classification of protein families and their domains. Okay, this PFAM website allows users to submit the protein, or they can produce the data or produce the protein forms in form of a structural sequence to search the match. Okay, so their URL is pfam.expand.org. The another interesting area is structural database. The sequence database, usually you can just got a two-dimensional structure of some sequence, some codings. But in case of structural database, there will be a three-dimensional form. The biological database, as I said, is consists of primary and secondary. Here, this PDB is maintained by Brookhaven in the World Repository Terminal area. They contains the information, or they got the input from the crystallographic studies and NMR experiments. Okay, they got some nice, colorful 3D structures. Okay, so this is a major one, important one. RCSB protein data bank. This protein data bank is a three-dimensional structural database which consists of both proteins as well as the nucleic acids. Okay, so it comprises of PDBE, Europe, and PDBJ, Japan. Their URL is RCSB. The acronym of this RCSB is Research Collaboratory for Structural Bioinformatics. You can browse this website over the internet. You'll get, if you want to type hemoglobin, myoglobin, whatever proteins, if you type, you'll get a nice structure. You can download the PDB structure and you can view the structure in bioinformatics tools. And you can interpret some bond lengths, bond angle, small experiments you can do. Okay, it will be good for the budding scientist. Okay. For this is a structural database. Another structural database is SCOP. SCOP is structural classification of proteins. It's largely manual classification of protein structural domains on similarities. Okay, among the protein as well as amino acids, whatever. Okay, here URL is scope.mrh-lamp.can.ac.uk. Okay, the another one is CAT. It's also a structural database. The name CAT itself, class architecture topology homology. Okay, it's a free public available online resource that provides the evolutionary relationship among the protein domains. Okay, their hierarchy, as I said, class architecture topology homology superfamily. Cat db.info is the URL. Then the third database, okay, primary, secondary, and the another one is the metabolic database. So the other database we used to say, but the other is a metabolic pathway database. Okay, so I just explained about the three things only over here. There apart from there are so many metabolic databases are there. SMPDB, that is small molecule pathway database. KEGG database is more familiar for the encore related problem. There is cancer researchers. They use this Toyota Encyclopedia of Genes and Genome database, Biopsych database. So all the URLs are mentioned over there. For research purpose, you can use this metabolic database and get the clear image of the metabolic pathway. You can perform your research. Okay. Some other databases, some specialized databases, human genome, human gene mutation database, online mutation inheritance in man database, transferase, RFAM, etc. etc. Tiger. So many some specialized databases are available. Even during my post graduation, also I developed a pathogenic gene database with the help of PHP and MySQL. Like this, you can also develop your own database. Okay, whatever database you develop, you can submit in your globally in internet. From if you submit it globally in internet, everyone can access your data with your permission. If you give permission, everyone can access. Or if you put any restriction, it will be limited. Okay, so these are the small databases. The next part is sequence alignment. So before going there, you must know a small knowledge about what is meant by sequence and what is meant by structure. Protein sequence as well as the nucleotide sequence. Nucleotide sequence, you know, right? A, T, G, C, G, C, T, C, like that. But in case of protein sequence, there will be a 3 code for an amino acid, for the protein, singlet code also there, valine, leucine, isoleucine, you know, right? All the proteins. So, sequence form. Okay. So, for example, ATGC is one structure, ATGG is one second sequence. Is if you align the two sequence, there will be a similarity, there will be a gaps Sorry. Is it audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Sorry for the inconvenience. It's an internet problem.
Gobo tower issues நினைக்கிறேன் கோபு.
Okay. It's a
Okay. Okay, you can continue.
Okay. I'll start. Sorry for the inconvenience happened over here. Okay, the sequence alignments. As I said, the consequences of among the functional, structural, and evolutionary relationship among the sequence. This can be defined as the alignment is made between a known sequence and unknown sequence. Okay. If you are doing some research in your lab, you got some aligned sequence or some known sequence. For example, if you are working on some mango tree, okay, we got mango leaves. So for DNA isolation, whatever, we'll get some sequence using the sequencer. It's a known sequence. Like this, if you got another sequence in an unknown form, okay, what you will do? You will search your unknown sequence with any of the known sequence available in the database, okay, or between the two unknown sequence. This image will clearly explains you what is mean by the similarity, gaps, identity. Okay, so here the known sequence is called the reference sequence. Okay, already known, it's predefined one, and the unknown sequence is the query sequence. With the help of this query sequence only, you will get a similarity sets among the whole database, and you get a information. So let us assume the first sequence ATGA CTGGA. Second one ATAA TGA. First part AA, it's aligned. Okay, TT aligned. So you can say this is an identity. For this column, this nucleotides from two sequences are identical. That is TT also identical, A and A also identical. But in the third one, G and A, they place one dot. See the similarity. We name this as similarity. First two is identity. The second also identity. Third one is similarity. Why we are saying similarity means for this column, nucleotides from two sequences are not identical but similar. Why? Because they are from the purine. You know about the purine pyrimidine, right? I don't know to explain in detail about this purine pyrimidine, all the things, right? In the first year or second year, you might learn about the detail about the nucleotides. Okay, so you know what will be its binding factor, adenine binds with what, okay, all those things you might know. So the third one, similarity. After all, again also the fourth one is identity. The fifth one is a new term, gaps. The C, it's not aligned with any of the base pairs. Gap in a DNA sequence alignment represents evolutionary deletions. That is, it might have some mutations, of course, over there, or any insertion may also taken place. Okay, so in these gaps, it might have deletions or might have insertions. Okay, after that there is a column, right? That column we can call as alignment column. Okay, that alignment column, so highlighted. So again also the same thing. So finally, again a gap, again a identity. As I said, in that gap, whether it can insertion may occur or probably deletion will occur. Next, why alignment needed? Okay, we need to be compare sequence for similarities and difference. For example, you are having an unknown sequence. We need to identify whether your unknown sequence belongs to which category or which family or which genus or which species. For that purpose, we need to have this alignment tools. We need to align first and go for the phylogenetic analysis to get the evolutionary relationship among the species, etc., etc. So, okay, often we are looking for not exact matches. Okay, exact matches won't occur. Rarely it may occur, but some similarities. From the similarities, can give a conclusion. It belongs to this, or this belongs to that. Like that, we can conclude. Homology. Similarity due to a descends from a common ancestor. Okay, you can conclude. Can also sometimes infer structure or function from sequence similarity. So the sequence 1 and sequence 2, you can easily get that match. Which one is a mismatch? There is a gap. So in sequence alignment, if you going for a sequence similarity practicals or research, you might come across these terms: match, mismatch, gap. Okay. Then types in sequence alignments. There will be two types of sequence alignments: pairwise alignments and MSA. That is multiple sequence alignments. More than more than three sequence if you want to align, you can say this is a multiple sequence alignment. Among the two sequence, the best matching, you can say the pairwise alignment. In pairwise also, local alignment and global alignment, two types are also there. As I said in the previous one, pairwise alignments, local alignment and global alignment is there. Okay. You can know what is meant by global alignment, what is meant by local alignment. Global alignment. The alignment is stretched over the entire sequence. See, first sequence, second sequence, stretched at the end. Start from A, 5 dash prime, the end A, also 3 dash prime. Second sequence A, completely stretched over the entire sequence, and they align among themselves. You will have some identities, okay? It may have some mismatches, it may have some gaps, okay? 90% there will be similarities. Okay, some identities are there, some gaps are there over the target sequence as well as the Fourier sequence. Okay, vertical lines along the sequence indicates the presence of identical amino acids. Also, dotted lines resembles this gaps. It involves the emboss needle tool. Do you remember in my third or fourth slide I said about the algorithms? There's a problem how to rectify. Here they used Needle-Wunsch algorithm. The person named Needleman and Wunsch. They create an algorithm to rectify this global alignment issues. So it was coined under their name as Needleman-Wunsch algorithm. With the help of this algorithm, you can use the global alignment. Okay. Likewise, the local alignments, Smith-Waterman. In global, Needleman-Wunsch. Here, Smith-Waterman. Okay, in BLAST online tool, it involves this local alignment only. Here you can see the two sequences are not stretched. You can compare and see the first one, both are stretched and equally aligned. But in case of this local alignment, tends to stop at the end of the regions of identify or strong similarity. A much higher priority is given to the local regions only, among the local internal group. Okay. And extending the alignment to include more neighboring amino acid pairs, which involves BLAST2. It was developed by the Smith and Waterman and terms under their name Smith-Waterman algorithm. Mostly this is a commonly used algorithm for alignment, pairwise alignment. Okay. Then MSA, multiple sequence alignments, more than 3 sequence, biological sequence. They used this multiple sequence alignment for both protein as well as nucleic acid. In case the sequences are aligned and are assumed to have an evolutionary relationship by taking a linkage from a descendant common ancestor. By using the MSA, we can use the phylogenetic analysis and we get an evolutionary relationship. These are the tools involved in alignments. Muscle. If you Google it, MUSCLE, you will get an online URL. With the help of this muscle URL, you can perform your this alignment and you will get a phylogenetic tree in the same page itself. It's advanced one. MU, T coffee, cluster W, PyMol, subroot, that's some cluster some these are the commonly used. Apart from some 150 or hundreds of tools are there. Every day someone is introducing. So many tools. These are the commonly used alignment tools. Yeah. Sequence alignment problems. So needed to arrange two sequence, you need pairwise alignment. In pairwise, global and local. More than 2 sequence or 3 sequence, you need MSA, multiple sequence alignment. Which part to be aligned means whole part you need a global one. The local part, parts of the sequence you need local alignments. How to compute similarity? A way to compute substitution scores. You need the last one, blue color image. There are two images, two sequences. AACC some image A and B. See, way to gap analysis. The two sequences are aligned. The diagonal lines which indicates the identical similar. When you writing the for the results output will become A gap AA CC GG. Again there is a gap. For C there is a gap. The second sequence I am saying A there is a gap. Like this you can compute the similarity. These are manually we are doing. There are some online tools, ClusterAnalyze, tcopy. All these tools will automatically perform these operations automatically. So BLAST, basic local alignment search tool. BLAST is a common program used among all the biologists. Usually they say, I will do BLAST, I will do BLAST. The acronym for this BLAST is basic local alignment search tool for comparing gene and protein sequence against other public databases. Okay, it's a set of sequence consists of some algorithms to search database to get a optimal local alignments query over the database. It breaks the query and database sequence into fragments. Okay, whatever the sequence if you are insert or uploading, it will break the query and it will develop the search over the database and will get a fragments of database and seeks the matches and it will core them and aligned in a particular page with a clear description which your query sequence is aligned to this one or not. Okay. Generally the sequence alignment previously it was used by the dynamic programming method. Dynamic program is the easiest one. Previously they were used. With the after the innovation of this BLAST program is 50 times faster than this dynamic program. Okay, dynamic program also used for the similarity search only, but this BLAST program is 50 times faster than this dynamic program. What are the types of BLAST? There are several types of BLAST search. Protein BLAST, nucleotide BLAST, translated nucleotide sequence BLAST, BLASTX, T-BLAST, N. Okay, these are the BLAST types available in the online database. That is in BLAST, NCBI BLAST. If you go, there are these 4 types are there. Okay, so generally we use for nucleotide sequence. That's the DNA or RNA sequence. We use a nucleotide BLAST N. Apart from protein, we need protein BLAST P. Okay, so some peculiar types we need T-BLAST N or BLAST TX. Okay. Next about the phylogenetic analysis. Before going to the phylogenetic analysis, you must know about the tree or root. For example, let us assume Catherine is a girl, right? I am talking about the Catherine's family tree. So first it started from, might be having some other rules. From Catherine's knowledge, she deserved one family tree or some flowchart. Started with William and Catherine. Okay. They got married. So they got Robert and Alex, 2 kids. Robert married Sarah, Alex married Megan. Sarah and Robert got Jamie and Catherine. Alex and Megan got Tracy and Henry. This is the family tree of Catherine. Okay. Keep this in mind. Likewise, the similarity search data will explore in phylogenetic analysis. That is the evolutionary relationships. So the term phylogenetic analysis, it has 2 terms. Taxonomy. In school itself, there will be a taxonomical things you may have learned, right? The science of classification of organisms. Here, phylogeny is the evaluation of genetically related group of organisms, a study of relationship between collection of things. That is, it is derived from common ancestor. Usually, we humans are having a common ancestor, right? Monkey, chimpanzee, whatever, right? So, like this, each and every organism having their own phylogenetic, that is a relationship. From that, you can know from which organism it got evaluated. Like that, you can know. To find the evolutionary ties and relationship between organisms or ancestral sequence and its descendants. Okay, the below diagram is an example for the evolutionary relationship of some data. Okay, so phylogenetic tree terminology. Every tree there will be a root. From the root only the branches, sub branches, all things arise, right? So here the first, let's say the blue now is the ancestral node or root of the tree. From that some branches, there will be an internal nodes. From the internal nodes, again the sub branches. From the sub branch at the end, the final there will be a terminal nodes or the external nodes. Okay. So the tree has internal nodes indicating the branch points and external nodes using indicating the data points for construction of trees. While constructing these trees must have ancestral node having internal nodes, branches, all these things. In this context of biological evaluation, these data are often called as OTUs, that is operational taxonomic units. Okay.
Gober, sorry for this one.
Yes, sir.
How many slides there, Gober, remaining?
Remaining some 5 to 10 slides. I will.
In the completed the 3:30?
Yeah, before the time, sir.
Okay, thank you. Continue.
Thank you, sir. So, there are some 3 types of trees. There are so many. I will explain the basics trees for you, for your understanding. Cladogram, phylogram, and ultrametric or chronogram. So, a cladogram, from the tree itself, you will easily get an idea. The cladogram only represents a branching pattern. Okay, that is, its branch length do not represent time. There is no meaning in the cladogram. But in case of this phylogram, there will be a genetic change should be mentioned there. Whereas a branch lengthen proportional to the amount of character change. It will be clearly explained. But in case of the chronogram or the ultrametric, it's a phylogenetic tree whose branch lengthens are proportional to the time. Okay. Properties of tree. Rooted and unrooted. Rooted tree have a, from that rooted tree you can say it's having a common ancestor. But in case of this unrooted, you can't assume or you can relate the common ancestor. Okay. So rooted tree. This root node do not have a parent node, but serves as a parent. Take some of the cladogram diagrams only. See, ABC is having a common root. But in case of this unrooted phylogram, you can see that it's not common ancestors. There is common root was not there. This was absence over here. Always generated from roots, but omitting the root. It might have a common root, but due to some mutation or some red course, it might have deleted or omitted from the previous rooted. These are the tools available for phylogenetic analysis. Clustal W, Mega A, PhyLeap, QuickTree, TreeGen are the phylogenetic analysis tools used for the phylogenetic relationship. Okay. After doing the multiple sequence alignment, you can go for phylogenetic analysis for getting the evolutionary relationships. Okay. Bioinformatics languages and tools. The final one. I know the students are in hurry mode to end up this session. Okay, very soon. More 5 or 6 slides are there. So there are some interesting areas. You might have some difficulties in this area, but I like these areas. Bioinformatics languages and tools. These are the programming languages for bioinformatics: Perl, Python, Java, R, Bash, BioRuby, so many, etc., etc. So many languages are there. I just correlate here the few 6 languages here. Some 5 languages over here. Python. You know the Python is booming nowadays. If you learn Python, you will get placed in any other IT company. It's some 50 or 60K starting package if you are thorough in Python. Like it's Java, everywhere is Java. R programming is for statistical purposes. Perl, if you learn Perl language, you can easily study the PHP programming also. Bash. Okay, these are the common interesting bioinformatics programming language used for developing their algorithm and the tools involved in the bioinformatics areas. You know the OS, operating system. Mostly we use Windows operating system, Windows 10, Windows 8, 8.1 like this you will use. But for bioinformatics, Linux based system is very, very helpful. Okay, moreover it's very safe also. Gentoo Linux. It's a list of, if you install the Gentoo Linux package, there is OS. It comprises of all the bioinformatics softwares inbuilt. For example, if you are using Microsoft Windows, it's Windows 10, to insert Paint, WordPad, Notepad. The basic things are already pre-installed, right? Likewise, the Gentoo Linux software, this OS, consists of a list of bioinformatics packages, mostly in European countries, in US, Australia. They use the Gentoo Linux OS or BioLinux. There is Ubuntu, mostly in Dell laptops. Pre-installed the Ubuntu is there. Okay, the developed version of Ubuntu, that's BioLinux in the 14th version. Okay, these are the common, okay, the platforms for bioinformatics. So the commercial tool for bioinformatics: code uncode aligner, genomics expression, Genesius, full Lasergen suite, BioSuite, Auxiliary, Discovery Studio, Gold, Scrollinger. Okay, these are the commercial. For example, Scrollinger software, yearly 5 to 10 lakhs for an education institution. Auxiliary Studios 3 lakhs yearly. If you purchase the system for your college or university, it will helpful for your whole research, PhD. You can publish to that results. Okay. In commercially, these are commercial tools. You need to purchase things from that particular company and you can utilize. Whatever I said, the sequence alignment, phylogenetic things. Apart from that, docking, molecular docking, all the bioinformatics packages you can done over these commercial tools. Okay, these are some non-commercial tools. Bioinformatics is a free version. But for example, if you want to do a docking in Auxiliary Discovery Studio commercial software, you will need 3 to 4 steps. But in case of this AutoCAD, same docking, 56 to 58 steps. So that in commercial is time consuming. Within a single 3 or 4 clicks, you will get the results. But in case of AutoCAD, we need to manually do the 56 or 58 steps. Okay, that's the difference. But here, we don't need any ethical issues. Sorry, ethical means there are license issues. If you get an output, you can directly publish the data. But in case of commercial one, you need a license for publishing. Okay, some pirated version softwares are used by some students or scholars. Pirated version results we can't publish. But in case you can use the non-commercial tools, you can publish the data in all the peer-reviewed journals. Okay. So thank you very much. Okay, if you need any queries or related to this bioinformatics, please write over a mail or ping me. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Chinnadurai.
Thank you, Gopal. Thank you, Gopal. Students, so you have the any doubt, please ask me. Please ask the guest. The students have the any doubt?